Welcome back to Little English Studio, the channel where we travel across time and continents to uncover the most extraordinary wonders of our planet, from ancient civilizations and hidden temples to natural sanctuaries filled with myth and meaning. Today, we're journeying to the eastern coast of Africa, where amidst the whispering winds of the Indian Ocean lies one of Kenya's most mysterious and sacred treasures, the Kaya forests. These ancient groves, hidden within lush green hills, are not only home to rare species of flora and fauna, but also serve as the spiritual heart of the Mijikenda people, guardians of a living heritage that has survived for centuries. The Kaya forests are more than just patches of woodland. They are living sanctuaries of memory, faith, and identity. The word Kaya itself means home in the local Mijikenda language, a word that carries deep spiritual significance. For the 9 subtribes of the Mijikenda, the Giriama, Choni, Korma, Ribe, Rabai, Kamb, Diuruma, Digo, and Jabana, each Kaya forest was once the original settlement where their ancestors established their first communities after migrating inland from the coast. Over time, as populations grew and moved outward, the ancient Kaya villages were abandoned. Yet instead of fading away, these forests became sacred places, the final resting ground of ancestors and the heart of spiritual life. Inside a Kaya forest, time feels suspended. Towering trees with twisted roots form natural cathedrals, the ground covered in thick leaves and sunlight filtering through the canopy like rays of divine presence. Every sound, a bird's song, a rustle of branches, feels sacred. To the Mijikenda, these forests are not merely natural resources, they are living beings with souls, the homes of ancestral spirits who watch over the community. The elders, known as Ngambai, still perform ancient rituals here, invoking blessings, offering sacrifices, and seeking guidance for everything from weather to justice. The Kaya forests represent a unique intertwining of ecology, spirituality, and tradition. Each forest has a central clearing or shrine where ceremonies take place. There are rules, strict and sacred, governing who can enter, where one may walk, and what one may touch. Certain areas are off limits to anyone but the initiated elders. Women during pregnancy or menstruation are traditionally asked not to enter specific zones, out of respect for spiritual purity. Within these boundaries, the community maintains a balance between the visible and invisible worlds. To disturb a tree or remove wood from a kaya without permission is seen not only as an environmental violation, but a spiritual transgression. Legends tell of those who disrespected the forest meeting mysterious misfortunes, an illness, a storm, or loss of harvest. For the Mijikenda, the kaya is a constant reminder that humans and nature are one, and harmony depends on respect and restraint. But beyond spiritual symbolism, the Kaya forests are also repositories of traditional knowledge. Medicinal plants, spiritual herbs, and ancient songs have been passed down through generations. The oral histories, proverbs, and chants performed during rituals encode centuries of ecological wisdom, knowledge about seasonal patterns, soil fertility, and animal behavior. In 2008, UNESCO recognized the sacred Mijikenda Kaya forests as a World Heritage Site for their combined cultural, historical, and ecological value. Spread across the coastal counties of Kilifi and Kwale, there are over 40 distinct Kaya sites, each representing one of the 9 Mijikenda communities. These forests are not large, some cover just a few hectares, yet they hold immense symbolic weight. UNESCO described them as a living testimony of a rich cultural tradition and an outstanding example of human interaction with nature. The Kaya system reflects a rare form of indigenous governance, where the preservation of the natural world is embedded in moral law. The elders act as both priests and environmental stewards, ensuring that rituals, taboos, and conservation rules sustain the ecosystem. Interestingly, while many of the original fortified villages within the forests have decayed into earthen mounds and stone ruins, their spiritual boundaries remain active. Pilgrimages, offerings, and prayers continue, especially during times of drought or social unrest. In this way, the Kaya serves as both a historical site and a living cultural landscape, constantly renewed by belief and ritual. Beyond their cultural significance, the Kaya forests also preserve one of the last remnants of the coastal lowland forest ecosystem in East Africa. These ecosystems are biodiversity hotspots, home to endemic species found nowhere else on Earth, from the rare Clark's weaver bird and the golden-rumped elephant through to medicinal trees like Phacelia quanzensis and Warburgia salutaris. Many of these species depend entirely on the Kaya forests for survival, which makes conservation efforts even more vital. Environmental scientists working with the Kenya Forestry Service and UNESCO have found that areas protected under traditional kaya rules often maintain better ecological health than state-managed reserves. In essence, spiritual law has achieved what modern regulation often fails to do, true sustainability through reverence. Yet the kaya forests face mounting challenges. As urbanization spreads along Kenya's coast, especially near Mombasa, Malindi and Kilifi, pressures on land are increasing. Deforestation, farming and illegal logging threaten to encroach on sacred boundaries. Younger generations, influenced by modern religion and urban life, sometimes see the kaya traditions as outdated. However, in recent years, there's been a revival movement led by both elders and youth activists determined to preserve the kaya heritage. Educational programs teach schoolchildren the history and stories of their people. Community conservation groups, like the National Museums of Kenya's Coastal Forest Conservation Unit, are working with local councils to document rituals, map forest zones, and train guides for ecocultural tourism, a model where visitors can experience the magic of the forest without disturbing its sanctity. In 2021, the Kaya Kinondo Forest, one of the most accessible sites near Diani Beach, became a shining example of this model. Managed entirely by the local Digo community, the site welcomes tourists on guided walks, where they learn about sacred trees, traditional taboos, and spiritual philosophies that see nature as a living partner. Visitors are asked to follow specific rituals before entering, such as removing shoes or offering a prayer, not as a tourist gimmick, but as a sign of respect. Stepping into a kaya forest is an experience beyond words. The air feels thicker, the sound softer, and the temperature cooler, as though you've crossed a threshold between worlds. The elders say that here, you don't speak loudly because the forest listens. Every rustle of the wind, every call of a bird, is interpreted as communication from the spirits. One of the most sacred rituals performed within the forest is the Koma ceremony, where offerings are made to honor the ancestors and to ask for community protection. The participants use traditional vessels carved from wood or gourd, filled with millet, honey, and local brew. After prayers, the elders pour the offerings onto the earth, symbolizing unity between the living and the dead. These rituals reinforce a moral code: humility, gratitude, and coexistence. In a time when the world faces ecological crisis, the Mijikenda philosophy of Kaya offers a profound message that protecting nature begins with reverence, not control. Story of the Kaya forests is a story of resilience, how an ancient people managed to protect their identity, beliefs, and environment against centuries of change. The forests have survived colonial expansion, religious conversion, and modernization, yet they still stand as green sanctuaries whispering their ancestral songs. Today, visitors from across the world come to the coastal highlands of Kenya, not only to witness the beauty of its beaches, but also to feel the silent power of the kaya. The UNESCO recognition has helped raise awareness, yet the future depends on continued respect, both from outsiders and from the Mijikenda's own younger generations. To walk among the trees of Kaya is to feel something ancient and universal, the sense that home is not just a place, but a living connection between people, memory, and the earth itself. And that concludes our journey through the sacred Kaya forests of Kenya, a place where the line between the physical and the spiritual disappears into the rustling of leaves and the murmurs of ancestors. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to keep following our World Heritage adventures. Until next time, may you always travel with open eyes, open hearts, and respect for the living world that surrounds us.